Hello everyone. I would like to explain to you a marvelous migraine case of Dr. Blackie. You see the photograph here. What is to know about Dr. Blackie? Well, first of all, she was the first woman physician to the Queen. Here a picture of her alongside with Queen Elizabeth II. She lived in the past century until 1981 and was practicing homeopathy in London until 1980, her 80s. And in this last year, more precisely in the academic year 1977-78, I sat in with her a number of times. And so she was one of my teachers during the long course in London, the long course at the Faculty of Homeopathy. And what I would like to tell you now is a story of a case, a migraine case. I still vividly remember this man in his 70s who came back very quiet, polite, and told he had problems with migraine since a few months. He had been taking painkillers, but he came back to Dr. Blackie because, as he told her, she had cured him of migraine before. And so he was asking to cure him again, to help him with the migraine headaches. At that moment, Dr. Blackie asked her assistant to go and get the file of this patient, and she started, as usual, asking all the questions, writing down a few notes, looking into the repertory and getting the story of the migraine of this patient. And at a certain moment, the assistant came back and said, I cannot find the file. And she whispered something, probably go and look somewhere else, etc. And she went on taking the case, and it appeared to be quite clearly a nature mure case, which is one of the major remedies for migraine, as you may know. The assistant came back another time and again said, I don't find the file of this patient. So she asked the patient, well, when did you come previous time? When did you come to see me? And he replied, 25 years ago. So this is the whole issue. 25 years ago, she gave him nature mure, so the very remedy that was showing the picture. This time, when I was there in 78, was the remedy she gave him 25 years ago and which cured the migraine. So that was like an incredible case. Imagine you have migraine attacks, you take one time a painkiller and you're okay for 25 years. Basically, this is what happened with the migraine case that I find marvelous. And so he was sent home with another dose of nutmere to take. Now, what are the lessons that we learn from this case that I would like to emphasize? Well, one striking thing is, of course, the lapse of 25 years, and the patient said, I have been doing well otherwise. So also on other levels, the patient was okay, health was okay. So the migraine was restored, was into balance, but not just the migraine, the whole patient was into balance. He didn't really get sick. He didn't have any other problems. He was well otherwise for 25 years. And this is one of the cases that make me a supporter of the idea of the more or less, I am cautious, the more or less constitutional remedy, which means that some remedies in some patients may have a very big and large effect, not just one complaint, not just 2-3 complaints, but an overall well-being is created and health is restored, and even for a longer time. Of course, this is, let's admit, a bit of an exceptional case, very extraordinary case, that it takes 25 years, but the idea is there that the homeopathic treatment does not just treat, bring into balance the complaint, migraine in this case, but the patient of a whole, the constitution as we call it. The second lesson I remember from this case is the value, the power of the single dose strategy. You know, there are two strategies, single dose strategy, repeated dose strategy. Both are valid, and in fact both have been described by Hahnemann. But in this case, the patient took Natmur one or two times, a few times, 25 years ago. It's like a single dose, and over 25 years the patient was doing okay. And then the symptoms relapsed, reappeared, he came back, took the other dose, and probably never needed another remedy for the rest of his life. So the power of the single dose strategy. Again, most of the time, most patients will need repeated dose strategy because it will have more impact and at least improve them more quickly, especially if there is a heavy pathology. But single dose strategy can work, yes. Then the third challenge, in fact, we get from this case is the definition of a cure. So in the classical idea, someone has pain, headache, takes a painkiller, and that's the cure. And then next week, next month, there is another attack of pain and takes another painkiller. And the patient knows how to handle the migraine, the headache. Okay? No, we go beyond this. The headaches have to disappear, but exactly as in this case, there is no more need for the painkiller, whether it be paracetamol or whatever, or the Natmur. There is no more need because the patient is brought into balance. And the cure is in fact that we get to a stage where the repetition, even in the repeated dose strategy, is not so strongly needed anymore because the whole patient is brought into balance. We don't need to give the painkiller every attack of pain. We don't need to give the anti-whatever every time the complaint appears. To give one other example, and this is a bit about diet, if the migraine would have been caused by chocolate, the obvious advice will be you take a diet, you eat no more chocolate and you have no more migraine or much less migraine. In our idea of cure, the patient is cured when they can eat chocolate and do not get migraine. So I hope these ideas help you a little bit in your practice, and for me and for some of my friends, this is a very nice memory of the marvelous Dr. Blackie. Thank you very much.